Hey beautiful people, my name is Kristen. Thank you for stopping by my channel. It is Tag Tuesday. I have not been feeling tags very much lately, but it's Shakes Timber and there is a Shakespeare tag and I'm feeling it. So I want to do it because I have some stories and things about Shakespeare that I just felt like sharing, and they're totally within the realm of this tag. I will leave in the description the creators as well as other videos that I have been watching on my friends who have been doing this tag. If you are interested in Shakespeare, you should check them out. Number one, what was your first experience reading Shakespeare and what was it like? So I know I read them in school. I read Macbeth and Hamlet and Romeo and Juliet, and maybe even some others. However, what I really first remember is I am a huge Star Trek fan, especially the original and Next Generation are my two favorites. I also kind of love Voyager, but Patrick Stewart and Sesame Street are huge fandoms. And Patrick Stewart did a cameo on Sesame Street with the letter B. It was all about to be or not to be, which letter of the alphabet was this. And I will leave that video linked below in my description because it is only 2 minutes and it is perfection. And if you have any interest in Shakespeare, Patrick Stewart, or the letter B, you should totally check it out. It's really, really awesome. I came across that when my boys were very little, so it wasn't necessarily a first experience for me, but it's an early childhood kind of experience that is worth coming about. It's just so clever and brilliant, and that's one of the things I most appreciate about Shakespeare and Shakespeare's plays. They just incorporate so many different aspects and so much like chances for one-liners, chances for creating something not completely out of context, but taking these famous lines, taking these famous feelings, taking this theatrical experience and then sharing it in different cultures and different settings that is just so enriching. It's kind of a little bit like if you're a Monty Python fan. So I like Monty Python just fine. I think they're hilarious. But if I just sit down and I watch all those kind of clips, they're funny. But what's really hilarious is talking in the community, right? Reenacting that stuff, be like, oh, it's just a flesh wound, It's like that's when it becomes hilarious. And that is Shakespeare for you. Number two, has the reading of Shakespeare's plays ever brought you to tears? And what scene was it? And where were you when it happened? I don't think overly, but I will say kind of one of the more powerful moments was watching Henry V, and Kenneth Branagh is a huge, another iconic, actor that I am just a huge fan of. I actually had an experience when I was 21 and we got to be in England, in London for a month to study theater. And we had like 5th row center seats to the play Becket, and Kenneth Branagh and Derek Jacobi were the two lead parts, and they were on stage and they were passionate and they were telling the story of this, martyr in the church so powerfully and so brilliantly, and their spit as they are passionately spewing their lines was like, hitting us, and we were all like completely enthralled. And since that moment, I have just been like, I have to see everything he's done, and I still haven't, of course, because it's just so much goodness. But it's such a powerful play to see a powerful actor when they have that kind of passion, that kind of spirit. Henry V is a tragic, passionate story, and so it just brings up all the feels. I don't know that I was boo-hooing, but I definitely had all the feels. Are there any people that have played a significant role in your Shakespeare journey? I think the most significant person was actually my college professor, Dub Naramore, who really took us to Midsummer Night's Dream in Shakespeare in the Park in San Antonio, Texas on a summer kind of vacation trip while we were doing some theater. And then he did that play on the college campus for the homecoming play for everybody. And that became one of the pinnacle highlights of my kind of theater life, career, or whatnot. It was just a really fun experience, and just, again, that very immersive into the Shakespeare culture. And do you have a favorite book or film about Shakespeare? No. I've loved that part of this tag that I've been watching other people, and I am taking notes to go either read these books or watch these films. Which character in Shakespeare most resembles you? In what way? I don't know. I first thought of Hermina, the short one in Midsummer, and Puck, of course, because, you know, he's just a little troublemaker, and sometimes I have that in me. I do. But I don't know. I don't know. If I'm really honest, I have to say it's probably one of the side characters who's like the servant who always gets sent about to proclaim or gets themselves in trouble when they don't know they're getting themselves in trouble, because I usually find myself in that position. Just saying. Which play would you most like to see performed in the theater? Othello. I know it's a tragedy. I know, like his tragedies, everybody dies and it's tragic. But I just somehow, that particular play, seeing the movie, I've never seen it live, and I just think it would be beautiful, gripping, tragic. You know, you'd have to be in the mood. You'd have to be in the right mood, but I think that would be really cool. What actor throughout history would you most like to have seen play Hamlet while in his prime? Now, I don't know that he's not in his prime, but he's getting a little old. But the first person I thought of, and I stand by it, is Tobey Maguire. I don't know that anybody said him yet, but I just really feel like he has this perfect kind of boyish, like that kind of curiosity, that kind of coming of ageness, solid look to him. But then he has been able to pull off some pretty powerful moments and kind of more tragic scenes. And I see him kind of internalizing that the same way he kind of internalized the struggle of like taking on the responsibility of Spider-Man, right? It's kind of like that kind of tragic and yet able to pull off some comedic moments too, you know? So anyway, that's my pick for that. Deliver your favorite speech or soliloquy from a Shakespeare play. Okay, so I know this is weird, but I'm going with Midsummer Night's Dream. And when I saw Midsummer Night's Dream in San Antonio with my theater troupe on our vacation, I really loved the play within the play. So if you don't know Midsummer Night's Dream, there's going to be a wedding, and then there's going to be some players that are going to perform a play for the wedding, and there's a whole bunch of mishap that happens because people get lost in the woods and fairies come out and all these magic and enchantments and switching partners accidentally happens, right? So it's a hysterical funny comedy, but the play within the play. So the player flute plays Thisbe. And I thought that scene was particularly hysterical when I saw it. So when I went to the auditions for Midsummer's, tons of people had come. I mean, everybody had come out of the woodwork. There was probably 100+ students trying out for this play. And there are not that many parts, even though there are a lot of parts in that play. And I they had all the readings where you could like read for Tatiana or Titania and, all the head Helena and all the head characters. And I said, there is no way. I am not that good of an actress to like get a lead part. I need to step it up and do something so that I can be in this play. So he got to the point where he's like, does anybody want to read for any of the parts? And I was like, oh, I want to read for Thisbe. And he's like, okay, you can read for that. Nobody's read for Thisbe, right? Nobody this whole time. We've been here 2 hours or whatever. So in the play within the play, it's one of those tragic Shakespeare things where the lovers are going to kill themselves. So I was originally a guy playing a girl, but I just played a girl. So the girl character in the play, who my lover has now killed himself. And I remember most of it, but I have to take a little note. It says, asleep, my love? What? Dead, my dove? Oh, pure arise, arise. Speak, speak, quite dumb. Dead, dead. A tomb will cover these eyes, these lips, these cherry nose, these cowslip cheeks. Oh, sisters three, come, come to me. His eyes were green as leeks. Tongue, not a word. Come, trusty sword. Bade my heart imbrue. Farewell, friends. Thus Thisbe ends. Adieu! 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 And of course, it got played all over the stage, and I just went into this over dramatic death that took way too long to accomplish for such a short little soliloquy. So, needless to say, that became what I was known for. And there's a honor society, Alpha Psi Omega, for theater people. And so when I was inducted to that the next spring, that became my name. That got rebranded and printed on my shirt and all that kind of stuff. I was Adieu. So that whole kind of thing is why Midsummer Night's Dream is my favorite, although I'm not really advocating that it's his best work, but it's just my most beloved. Do any of Shakespeare's plays intimidate you? If yes, what play and why? So his histories are long and they're involved, and I need to watch the movies because I get lost. They do intimidate me. I have to read the footnotes. I have a hard time wrapping my brain into a lot of his history, and I have not even read them all. What tips would you give to intimidated readers coming to Shakespeare for the first time? Experience it with people, right? Like, watch the movies, go to the plays, talk to your friends, look at the Sesame Street clips, look at the little funny cameos, understand where those come from, read some retellings, just have fun with Shakespeare. I mean, Hamlet was one of my favorite stories last year, and so even those kind of things are just precious. Just precious. Just precious. What is your favorite Shakespeare play and why? I covered that, Midsummer's. And tag other booktubers. I am just tagging you. It is September. If you want to do this now or sometime soon about Shakespeare, which is really just read anything Shakespeare. Anything Shakespeare. There are some specific prompts or, bingos or whatever you can do, but whatever you choose to do that Shakespeare, just do a little bit. Just do a little bit of Shakespeare. So, hope that you enjoyed this. I really appreciate you hanging out with me. Like and subscribe if you want some more bookish, crazy content. Take care. Y'all have a great day.